Hey guys, today I want to talk a little bit about blade baits. Been catching a bunch of my fish the last month and a half or so during this cold weather period on blade baits. They're probably one of the three baits I always have tied on this time of year. But there's a little bit about them as far as the hole position and so forth that I wanted to share with you today. So the question is which hole to use, because most of them come standard with 3 holes drilled into them. And as you can see, typically the middle one is the one that if they've got an attachment to it, it's already in place. And the middle one is probably your best all around. If you're not sure what to use, the middle one is the one to go to. It's the hole that I use the most. Gives you pretty good balance, pretty good vibration. It's just a really good all-around position for attaching to. But the back one does have its place, and when you use the back one, the nose is going to sit down a little bit more in the water, so it makes it a bit more weedless. You'll get more vibration typically, and a bit more drag also. It'll be harder to pull back in. And so I usually use the back hole if I'm fan casting flats or if the water's a little bit more stained. Now the front hole is the one that you're going to want to use anytime you're vertical jigging, or if for some reason you need a little less vibration. So you'll have the least amount of vibration on the front hole, but you get a lot better balance because there's more tail end weight, and so the bait sits more horizontal in the water, and it'll be good for vertical jigging straight up and down if you're in that kind of a situation. As far as which line type to use, 3/8 and under, I usually throw everything on a spinning rod, and if I'm using a spinning rod, I'm usually using some kind of a braid. And the only time I switch off from that is when the weather gets really cold, like when I was out here the other day when it was 20 degrees. Braid will freeze up really bad. But otherwise, fluorocarbon or monofilament is the choice. I tend to use fluoro more than mono. And I'll go ahead and throw that on baitcaster, usually something 10 to 12 pound, again 3/8 and up, especially with 1/2 ounce or 5/8 of an ounce bait. One other tip to pass along: if you do use braid, make sure that you use a leader of some type, either fluoro or mono. Braid is so soft and flexible that the bait tends to hang up a lot. The hooks will get tied up in that line, but if you use something a little bit stiffer as your leader material, then that'll really go a long way in eliminating a lot of that potential issue there. So it helps a bunch. Hopefully that'll help you out a little bit. Definitely make sure you stock up on these baits, as both in the winter time as well as soon as that ice first comes out. It's one of, like I say, one of just a handful of baits that I always make sure I carry with me.